On this very blessed Beltane and full moon in Scorpio episode of Spelling the HEKA-TEA with Marcus and Evan,
we of course have Witchcraft in the news,
followed by Astrology Mixology for the month of May.
And introducing our main topic,
Healing the Witch Wound. Do you need an ointment for that? Then it is our Chilling Adventures of Sabrina rewatch,
followed by SpellCraft,
where we sit down again with Appleby, who is a spiritual, esoteric witch counselor, trauma counselor, and automatic drawer for a session of automatic drawing.
And lastly, we have Witchy Media review, where we watch 2026's hot off the press Forbidden Fruits.
All this and more on Spelling the HEKA-TEA with Marcus and Evan.
Join us.
Hey witches, blessed Beltane, happy full moon in Scorpio, and welcome to an all-new episode of Spelling the HEKA-TEA with Marcus and Evan. I am Marcus James, author, activist, witch, and a very fantastically wonderful, defiant homosexual.
And I am Evan. I am a legal assistant, a fiction editor, a witch, and a big old lipstick lesbian.
If you are new here, welcome. We post episodes every full moon and new moon right here on YouTube, Pacific Standard Time, 7 a.m. If you are a returning champion, as we like to call you, you have been sticking with us, you enjoy us, you have just recently joined us, and you are coming back for more, welcome back. We really love and appreciate you. Want to acknowledge and shout out and a big old thank you to the 100 plus views now on our most recent episode,
yes.
Our Spring Mysteries Mega Special. That's just really amazing. Please, please, please help us keep up that momentum and just get the show out there. And doing that really entails doing a few things, and that is that we need you to like, comment, subscribe, hype, and share, and help us to continue to build this fantastically wonderful and deliciously wicked, baneful, and blessed coven right here in our corner of the circle.
Where, as always, we are two homos, one cauldron, and it is a spellbindingly good time.
Absolutely, root and tooty, fresh and fruity. All right. So we are finally back.
We are.
The regular.
We
got Sam with us, as usual, watching over us. We got to stay spooky. Everything's just settled.
Yes, we're settling back into our real life.
Yes. It was a whirlwind of crazy and magic and mystery tours going on at Spring Mysteries in the last episode.
It was.
And
I don't know about you, but I'm still putting my house back together.
Oh, yeah. In all avenues, aspects, ways, and days. Yeah. But glad to be back.
Exactly.
And of course, we have Witchcraft in the news, and I'm going to be kicking us off for that. It's time to meet the Cheese Witch. She is a fortune teller, a reader, who can read your destiny in a chunk of cheese.
Wow.
So, self-professed cheese witch, as she terms herself, Jen Billick, doesn't use tea leaves, and she doesn't practice the tarot or read palms. She reads cheese. The process is also known as tyromancy.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So Billick says that one of her first food memories was looking into a cheese cave with her parents and being like, "Oh my God." She relayed to the New York Post. Billick, who lives in Chicago, began reading the rhymes during the pandemic. She was a travel writer, but of course that work wasn't really happening at the moment. So during COVID, I Googled weird ways to tell fortunes with food. And I found cheese, and it was the start of this little love affair, she said. So before her cheese practice, she had long studied tarot. So she's not unfamiliar to the act of divination.
Right.
I figured out how to adapt what I was already doing divination-wise into cheese, explaining that her readings borrow from the framework of a traditional tarot spread.
Oh.
So, yeah, right. Billick explains that the process of cheese reading, also again known as tyromancy, dates back to the 2nd century and became really popular in England during the Middle Ages to determine whether a criminal was guilty or innocent and to predict the viability of a given harvest season.
Wow.
So it's similar to reading tea leaves or coffee grounds, wherein a story unfolds through the shapes and textures that reveal themselves in the cheese. So it is then interpreted by her, who applies it to different realms of life, career, health, home, travel, relationships, all the usual. I will focus solely on the cheese, and then things start coming in as you need to say this, you need to say this, you need to say this. Whatever I'm hearing in my head is the message. It's always loud, and it always knows what it's doing. So she offers in-person and online readings, but prefers that her clients select their own cheeses, as it fosters a kind of enzyme energy between the selector and the selected. Each person gets 4 pieces of cheese per reading, and the first 3 represent the past, the present, and the future. I read those like a 3-card tarot spread. The 4th cheese then is used to answer a question or resolve a problem. For her mini readings, she says the cheese is just a vehicle. It acts as a connection between the person that she's reading and herself. And the type of cheese can influence the kind of messaging that she receives. I get different things from different cheeses. A blue cheese can be very noisy with a lot to see and figure out. It can get distracting. While a Kraft single or a really clean piece of cheddar is more focused. I usually have less to say about those. The message is clearer. And in addition to cheese, she can also obviously read tarot and oracle decks, rune and spirit stones, and other food items. I can read any sort of food, any sort of drink. I've read wedge salads, I've read croissants, and beer and wine.
Wow.
She's even read a client's future in a bowl of curry. If you have to have all your food blended and fed to you through a feeding tube, I can read the blend, she told them. She sees reading food as a democratic kind of divination. She says that food is nourishment. We are ingesting it to help us stay alive, and there's a very strong mental, spiritual, and emotional connection to it. Food evokes memory. Food is political. Food is a topic of conversation. It makes sense to me that people connect with it on such a deeper level. Still, despite the ease and connection of access, she does admit that she fields a fair amount of skeptics, which, I mean, yeah, that you have to expect no matter what.
Right.
Even just saying that you're a witch. Oh, you believe you can do magic. I know, but okay, I keep going, and then we'll find out how much magic is real. She goes, I've been asked, what do you say to people who don't believe, who feel like it's dumb, who don't want to do it? She says, in this practice, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to learn something, and then you're going to eat cheese. There's no reason not to do it, and I agree.
Exactly.
I love cheese.
Same.
So she's actually working on a book about tyromancy, and she happily offers cheese readings to others. She doesn't read her own, preferring pleasure to prophecy. She says, I just want to continue to eat it happily and not worry about what it has to say to me. So, yeah, that's awesome. I did not know that existed.
I did not either, and I know it's called tyromancy, but I'm going to call her a fromagician.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
So the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra is going to be putting on the film Hocus Pocus and going to be providing the music led along by the film.
I love that.
Yes, so very, very exciting. This is part of their concert live to film series. I think they've been doing this with a couple of other movies recently. The concert will be led by conductor Stuart Chaffetz. Of course, Emmy award-winning and Grammy-nominated composer John Debney created the score for Disney's Halloween comedy film Hocus Pocus. Most of you probably are very well familiar with Hocus Pocus and the plot.
Yes, I hope so.
Exactly. So that sounds really fun.
Yeah.
I wish I were still in Georgia. I would definitely take myself to Atlanta to see that.
And when is that running?
It is going to be on Sunday, November 1st at 7:30 p.m.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, if you are in the Atlanta area and you are just able to travel and you get an opportunity to attend this, go to this, please drop a message in the comments and let us know how it was.
Yes, sounds very, very fun and spooky to attend.
Yes. All right, now we turn to Hollywood. And as we know, Practical Magic 2 has dropped.
Yes.
Its first teaser has spread everywhere. We all know, here it is, here it comes. And it has exploded. So here's all the tea we know so far on this whimsical journey into Owen's mythology. So in Practical Magic 2, Sally's daughters, of course, are now all grown up. Not the age that they should be, but, some people are vain. And they're dealing with their own magical powers as adults. Jillian, played by the terrifyingly fantastic Nicole Kidman, has settled down and is just content at being a cat lady with her little black cat.
I wonder if it's the same cat she had back in the first movie.
I mean, it wouldn't be alive now unless
But
we're
what if
literally.
it was like, you know, kept alive by magic?
I mean, it could be.
It could
There's
be.
sparkle shimmers in
Right.
this one, so you know. So Lee Pace plays a mysterious man who comes and has a mission for the sisters.
Ooh.
So Nicole Kidman said, we also have our past catching up with us, and we have our destinies, and we have our family. So Bullock also hinted that the original curse has not ended. Sally is single, and if you know the original film, you can probably guess why.
Right.
So it's going to premiere in theaters September 18th, 2026. So bring your black pointy umbrellas and get a pair of striped stockings, and don't forget your shawls, your crystals, your tiger's eye, and your Stevie Nicks, and go see Practical Magic 2 in theaters. Oh, this is not a paid endorsement for Practical Magic Friends. This is not a sponsored post, nothing like that. I just like to sound like an ad from my childhood on TV. So call us now.
And we'll say hello.
Hello.
So soldiers fighting in Ukraine are increasingly turning to witchcraft.
Oh.
Yes. Seeking solace and solutions from figures like the witch Natalia Malinovskaya. Apologize on any pronunciations.
Yeah.
She operates from her apartment in Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she inherited her powers from her grandmother and frequently appears on Russian TV.
Oh, okay.
She offers a range of services from love spells to protection from evil, demonstrating her method of detecting negative energy by wafting a lit match over glass. She notes that most clients seek help for relationship problems, including soldiers worried about their partner's faithfulness.
Mm.
So she stated, they contact me and there are many of them. She cautions that spells can only be cast in person when soldiers are on leave. She says it's impossible to carry out a ritual at the front. Where would someone burn candles and how would I even send them there?
Right. Fair.
Her reliance on mysticism reflects Russia's centuries-old tradition where Orthodox Christianity, folk superstitions, and mystical beliefs have coexisted even through periods of religious repression, which I think is a very universal experience for a lot of places.
Yeah.
But certainly there as well.
Yes.
Interest surged in magical arts in the final years of the Russian Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Famously, when faith healer Rasputin's influence over the Tsar's family caused public outrage. Oh, Rasputin.
Oh, Rasputin. Rah, rah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. Yeah.
Good song. But he's a very fascinating figure. Anyway.
Oh, 1,000%. I had a small obsession with
me too.
Rasputin and the whole
The whole
Anastasia story,
yeah.
and then the fucking people who pretended to be her and tried to claim that they were her, and how all that happened, and fucking yeah. If you don't know, we'll get into him actually.
Yeah, for sure.
So
We
eventually,
will.
one way or another, if you don't know about Rasputin, we will get there.
So anyway, at that time in history, interest in the occult was very much surging.
Yes.
It kind of declined for a period after that, but it's now on the rise again. State pollster VTSIOM said in March, today's geopolitical and economic challenges in Russia and worldwide heightened anxiety, triggering a surge in mysticism. It published a poll showing that 85% of Russians had dabbled in magical practices. They went on to say, in such conditions, especially against a backdrop of military threats, belief, regardless of which gods are involved, turns into a tool of psychological defense, which absolutely true.
Yep.
Russian forces have been on the offensive in Ukraine for over 4 years, fueling a deadly crisis that has damaged Russia's international standing, slowed the economy, and driven up the cost of living, as most of us know by now.
Yeah.
Nearly half of Russians believe that some people may be able to predict the future or who have magical powers. The survey showed up from less than a third in 2019. So that's quite a significant jump in that amount of time. Demand for crystal balls and protective amulets more than doubled last year, while sales of aspen stakes, which are said to defend the owner from evil spirits, quadrupled, said Russian cash register operator Atoll, citing consumer spending data. It was very interesting.
Yes.
At Witch Store in Moscow, which sells crystals, tarot guides, other magical paraphernalia, a couple of customers browsed the shelves looking for incense to clear the air, bring good luck, and things like that.
Yeah.
A few of them were looking for black obsidian. The spheres are very popular and in high demand right now in Russia at the store. due to being considered a stone of safety.
Oh,
Yeah. There's also a voodoo-themed bar called Marie Laveau.
Oh, okay.
Yes, which offers tarot readings at the bar.
What's surprising me, though, is doesn't Russia have all this shit against witchcraft?
They do.
I
mean, it's just very much one of those things that's, as it's getting pressed down by the government, it's growing within the people, I guess.
Like, but it's on media.
Yeah.
And their establishments. Like,
yeah.
I feel like, wouldn't that all be shut down?
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, apparently there is. So that sounds fun.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, that's kind of the perfect segue because there has been a lot of opposition to this, the witchier services and businesses in Russia. Last year, a group of lawmakers submitted a bill to ban advertisements for services such as astrology or energy healing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, blaming it on financial exploitation, all of that normal things that those get blamed on. And Patriarch Kirill, who is the head of Russia's Orthodox Church, backed the idea of a ban last year and this January, which decried the mass manipulative influence of fortune tellers and psychics. Because, of course.
Right.
He said there is a dark force present in fortune telling. If miracles involve divine power and grace, then fortune telling involves a devilish power. There's just always this contention, I think, in a lot of Abrahamic faiths that certain things are only okay because they're doing it.
Yep. Not witchcraft if they're doing it.
Exactly. Asked if the church, which sometimes performs exorcisms, considered psychics as rivals, a spokesman for the church said, "We don't exactly see them as competitors because competition implies a struggle with clients."
Okay.
So he very much kind of dodged the question by just shitting on witches.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know, it's very, like, the language is very minimizing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all kind of going on concurrently with each other. So again, as we always say on the show, it does come down so often throughout history to witches and Christians.
Yeah, witches and Christians.
So we are definitely seeing that play out in Russia right now, which is interesting.
Yeah. Back to Hollywood.
Yay!
So yes, it is official. American Horror Story Season 13. The more than likely last season of American Horror Story reunites the coven officially as Jessica Lange, Sarah Paulson, Angela Bassett, Evan Peters, everybody has signed back on. Yes, it is officially another season of the Witches and Robichaux Academy in New Orleans. And he did confirm the news over social media with a first look at Sarah Paulson returning as Cordelia Good, and in it he captioned "The Supreme Rises." And yes, we have rebuilt the entire Robichaux Academy. And then he said, coming this September. So, yay. And then, of course, Emma Roberts will once again reprise her role as Madison Montgomery, the wickedest bitch after Fiona. So she, of course, posted a little video at the piano where she said, "Surprise, bitches, that you thought you'd seen the last of me." It was magic. I loved it. And yeah, of course, they returned in the 8th season for Apocalypse. Really, once again, showing that whole witches versus the Abrahamic world situation. Of course, there's a chance that she may play Constance again, or play Constance instead of Fiona. She does really love her character of Constance Langdon from Murder House. So, but there is always a good chance that Fiona could return. I personally would love to see her return, even as a ghost.
I would too. Actually, that would be especially funny.
Yeah.
I think.
The alumni of the Coven universe are Evan Peters, Angela Bassett, Kathy Bates, Billy Lord, Gabrielle Sibity, of course, again, Leslie Crossman, yay! And then Ariana Grande will be joining as well. Let's see. The plot details are currently under wraps, but I feel like maybe since things were altered with the Antichrist and the Apocalypse, we will now go back to seeing kind of like the rise of Valerie, played by Billy Lord. Filming on season 13 began on April 6th, and given her long absence and her last appearance, which was briefly on Apocalypse, and she did say that she was not going to come back. That was just done. She was past it. When asked if she'd ever return, she said, "Oh Christ, no. I mean, I haven't done it for more than 10 years, 12 years, so no, I'm not doing it." So, I mean, you know, whatever the reason.
Yes.
I'm glad she's come back.
I am too.
I think we all are.
Yes.
Especially if 13 is the last season, the last that is it, American Horror Story is done, then it's only right that Jessica Lange was there for it.
I agree.
It would be very weird if she wasn't.
Yes.
So, I mean, not to say that there are other actors and actresses that I also kind of feel like should also be there, but Jessica Lange, I mean, in terms of American Horror Story, she is like the icon.
Yes.
So like,
she is its inception, you know?
So, I mean, she gave it credibility. Let's just face it.
Yeah,
like, love you,
so
Connie
true.
Britton. Love you, Dylan McDermott. You guys, you didn't legitimize the show for viewers. Jessica Lange doing the show is what brought viewers to it initially.
Exactly.
Yeah. So either way, super excited.
Yeah, super excited. I cannot wait. And here's something that's coming out that I am considerably less excited about.
Oh.
It is a Greek mythology retelling.
Okay.
Called, and I will be the first to admit, I'm a snob about Greek mythology retellings. I hate them.
Yes, you do.
Yes. So just prefacing that right there.
This is her own feeling about it. Her own feeling.
My own personal feeling. I do not know that this book is bad, but I will not personally be reading it.
You just need to report on it.
Yes, exactly. So the book is called The Witch and the Huntress. It is a sapphic retelling.
Okay.
Involving Medea and Atalanta. In the book, seeking a way out from her father's rule, Medea strikes a deal with Jason to steal the Golden Fleece and escape to Greece. So she is on board Jason's ship, the Argo, where she meets Atalanta.
Okay.
Atalanta is a formidable warrior who was raised by bears, unbound by the shackles of society. But when she joins Jason's crew in the search for her lost love, Atalanta finds herself drawn to Medea, and an epic love story that reaches across decades and oceans ensues.
Okay.
So that's that. We'll see what comes of it.
I think it sounds better than that HEKA-TEA book.
That's true. I will at least say that it sounds better than that.
I mean, I've done retellings of things. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my nothing wrong with it. It's just not my thing. I don't like to read them.
Sure.
But who knows? Maybe the book is good.
And you're not, and like I said, you're not required to read it.
Yeah, exactly. But hopefully it's a good book. I will not personally be reading it. Because I just don't like retellings very much.
Right. Well,
but hopefully there's many people out there who will enjoy it. I just will not be one.
It sounds interesting. I don't know if I will read it. But it definitely sounds interesting.
Yes.
I need to refill my drink.
Okay.
All right. Now it is time for Astrology Mixology for May of 2026. So the month of May begins and ends with a full moon.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So the second of which is actually a rare blue moon.
Oh.
Yes. So if there are two full moons in a calendar month, this actually indicates a theme of release and letting go, culmination of things, precipice of new things, a chapter coming to an end in May. Maybe we end up wrapping up loose ends of things, etc. Also, with the rare blue moon, there's also going to be a series of Stargate portals, including the Algol portal, the Pleiades portal, and the Silver Gate portal. All of these are star portals, which hold high frequency energies that will allow for guided connection with our inner divinity and with our spirit guides, ancestors, deities, familiar spirits, etc. It's a good time to kind of reflect on your purpose, what you are hoping to achieve in your life, and to maybe reframe some of the lessons that you've learned on your journeys in life so far. And so let's just get right into it. So tonight, full moon in Scorpio. So this full moon, a Scorpio full moon, thins the veil between this world and the world of the spirits, allowing us to have access to deific downloads and Gnostic knowledge. Remember, keep that make sure it's confirmed, Gnostic knowledge, and those deific downloads are just for you and keep them to yourself. So our intuition can feel heightened. We can feel connecting to other realms, other dimensions and places. The Scorpio full moon calls for us to release all the things that are blocking our power, our witchcraft, our magic. Maybe it's spells have been stalled lately, etc. So the time kind of has come to reclaim our power again through this full moon. So this will also shine a spotlight on our relationships in love and in business. And don't be surprised if there are shifting power dynamics in some of your relationships, or that there are things that need to transform or change in order for the relationship or situation to keep growing and going. May 2nd, Mercury in Taurus. May is very packed, by the way. So Mercury will be moving to Taurus, which will bring down some of the fiery energy that have been taking over in April. Mercury in Taurus is very slow, it's deliberate, it helps to slow our own thought processes, calm our hearts and minds and spirits. It'll help us move into a more stationary, grounded headspace, allowing us to kind of assess ourselves with greater clarity and what we want to nurture and take care of and nourish in our lives. May 4th, Mars in Aries will square with Jupiter in Cancer.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so it's Father and Son, let's go run in a rumble!
And rumble they will.
Yes. So this is going to give us energy and motivation to get things done. There is a chance that we can feel overwhelmed by all the things we have to do. But the tension will ease. We will wrap our heads around whatever these things are. And there will be a sense of satisfaction and relief in knowing that it's all possible to be done, to be had, to be made, to be created, etc. Mars can summon some heated emotions and make us irritable, like a bowel syndrome. And Jupiter can magnify these feelings because, of course, Daddy's going to do that. Because like father, like son. So, of course, if Mars is going to have an effect, then Jupiter, well, where did Mars get that fucking shit from? Dad, who doesn't want to take responsibility for anything ever. So just kind of be mindful of your emotions. Make sure you're keeping that shit in check for May. And try to find a healthy outlet to relieve those feelings, please.
Why do I feel like Mercury and Taurus during this time is going to be like the referee between them?
Kind of, yeah, no, probably. But this alignment can also support making progress on home improvement projects. So there is that. So on May 6th, Pluto will retrograde in Aquarius. So Pluto will station retrograde, which will give us the first retrograde planet that we have had in a while. It is known as the Lord of the Underworld, of course. And it is connected to transformation, cycles of death, rebirth, and inner and outer power. And also the spirit realm, living, dead, blah, 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 blah. All the liminal shits and all the shits. So Pluto spends, half the year in retrograde, and this is a normal part of its cycle. Now, when it's in retrograde, we are able to look over past transformations and reflect on things like death and rebirth that we have moved through in our own lives, whether literal death, figurative, a mix of both. And then how did we rise and come from those things, and what came of those things. And this can help us bring power dynamics to our attention and help us address where we may be giving our power away, or where we need to stand up more for ourselves. Pluto in retrograde being in the sign of Aquarius, we may find ourselves thinking about community or pondering how we can fit into our wider community. Aquarius can be a very healing energy. So we may kind of focus on practices that we feel enhance our well-being. So self-care, girls, a little self-care. So on the world stage, things in life, Pluto retrograde might shine a spotlight on technology and AI and all of the dark underworld things that go along with technology and AI. And I see you fuckers fucking posting shit with AI pictures, clearly made AI pictures and stuff, and creating things. It's different if you Google images, right?
Right.
And then you find an image, you like it, and then you're like, oh, it was probably AI.
Right.
That is not the same as going to an AI server and being like, do me a picture of Apollo in a chariot, doobie, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? And then you make that, then you are actively taking part in that.
Exactly.
And shame on you. May 14th, Mercury will chasm with the sun. And this will bring some insights into our life and shine some light on things. Things may be revealed. We may find ourselves being able to see things clearly after a period of confusion. Basically, the birds are chirping, the sky is clear, and the sun is brightly shining on fucking everything. And you can see everything for what it is, and it is glistening at exactly what it is and how it is. May 15th through the 17th is when we get to our first star gate. So it's the Algol gateway. So this is activated by the sun aligning with the fixed star Algol. And this is one of the most notorious stars in astrology. It's been nicknamed the blinking star of the demon. Yes. It represents the power that we obtain after moving through the cycle of death and rebirth. Algol is closely linked with the myth of Medusa. And as we know, Medusa began as an oracle goddess, but then was turned into a gorgon with a head of snakes for some reasons. But through this, she became stronger. So this is the essence of the Stargate, which teaches us to find our strength and power no matter the transformations that have found us. May 16th, Taurus new moon. The Taurus new moon will bring us a new lunar cycle that will feel a lot calmer and restorative than the one before it. So we are encouraged to slow down and be deliberate in our actions and deeds, and to think about our long-term goals and gains. Money matters or relationship may take present stage under this new moon, and you may feel like you're at a crossroads where there are two paths that you can go down with two very, very different results. Getting mental clarity and talking things through with a friend is going to be very helpful at this time. May 17th, Mercury in Gemini, and this will conjunct with Uranus. So Mercury loves being deep inside Gemini. And Gemini loves having Mercury deep inside of it. And Mercury inside of Gemini is very quick thinking, sharp, and a really good smooth talker and engaging storyteller. So use this kind of energy to problem solve and bring support to any communication issues or projects that you may be working on or having. With Mercury moving into Gemini and it aligns with Uranus, this will create some chaotic energies, but it'll also be very creative and highly energetic energy. So yeah. You might feel like your brain is running on overdrive. It's fine. If you have some out-of-the-box ideas, trust in them, explore them a little. If you feel like pushing some boundaries, go ahead. Just make sure they're not hurting other people. May 18th, Mars will be in Taurus. So Mars will move into Aries, and this will end a period of intensity and high energy. Mars will move into Taurus, I don't know why I said Aries, which will end a period of intensity and high energy. Mars in Taurus favors slowing down and making time to stop and consider and just enjoy. This could be a welcoming reset, or just, a moment where you need to breathe. May 18th, that breath can be had very deep. Also, on May 18th, Venus will enter Cancer. So, yeah, Venus going into very sensitive, caring, bleeding heart Cancer may make us feel extra sensitive and emotional. But don't be afraid to say no or set your boundaries if you need to. And if you're empathic, be extra mindful of what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, and how you are expressing that with other people and dealing with that with other people. May 19th through the 21st, it's the Alison Gateway, and also the Pleiades Gateway. So that Alison, I may be saying that wrong, gateway is activated when the sun aligns with the star Alison, which is one of the major stars of the Pleiades. So this could be defined as a feminine version of Sirius. So if Sirius is a spiritual sun, then that would be our shadow sun. This is the sun that shines the light on all the deeper, darker stuff that we have to get through in our lives and have to deal with to kind of ascend and continue in our knowledge and our practice and our enlightenment as witches and as magical practitioners and as, humans on this planet. So these shadows can also be the feelings of shame that we may possess around ourselves and our lives. So bringing these things into light, especially under the influence of the Pleiades, we may feel divinely supported and guided in how we do this and how we confront these things. So the Pleiades are also strongly connected to the spirit world, which can also help if you're trying to connect with those that you love who have passed on. May 20th, Gemini season begins. I have a problem with Geminis.
You do.
I can't resist a cute Gemini boy. It's a problem. But they can't resist me.
I have the same problem with Cancers. It's very electric, but it's very toxic every time.
Yeah. So the sun moves out of Taurus and will move into Gemini, which of course is an air sign, which means that it's an energy that will move from our lower chakras to our higher chakras, which will feel our creativity, self-expression, our desires to share and be open with others. So Gemini season can be a great time for us to really kind of deal with communication, focus on that, things that involve working with our hands. It's a powerful time, which is all about recognizing both aspects of ourselves and our being, that we are soul, but we're also this meat bag, that we are magical, that we are witches, but that we also can't fucking just do everything, and it isn't like it is in Hollywood, and we still have to do like life shit and analog shit, and life is still hard and things still suck, and we have to find the magic in that all the time. And yeah, so one twin is mortal, the other is immortal. So with Gemini season, there's going to be a lot of beams from the planet Uranus, a lot of magical energy coming from Uranus, and trust in that to help guide you to express your most authentic self. May 26th, Mars and Taurus will square Pluto in Aquarius, excuse me. So Mars and Taurus will square with Pluto, which can be a challenging energy all on its own, which can stir up tensions and bring out frustrations between yourself and others. Mars and Pluto coming together is also a lot about power struggles and feelings of helplessness. So don't be totally surprised if you find yourself facing some struggle or difficult situations or people. The great news is that this combination of energy will also help us reach a breaking point so we can move forward towards a resolution. So whatever the tension is, remember that you're supported in taking better action, and it will work out. May 28th, Venus in Cancer will square Saturn in Aries. So again, Venus in Cancer will square Saturn in Aries. This is another very harsh energy, but it's one of those kicks in the ass that maybe we need. This is when we're kind of guided to just make peace with difficult situations, relationships, financial issues, dynamics, whatever, and just step up and take responsibility and fight for what you value most. May 29th through the 31st is the Aldebaran Gateway and the Silver Gate Portal. So when the sun aligns with the royal star, Aldebaran, it activates a portal that's all about high frequency energy. So some astrologers will refer to this as a Silver Gate portal, and this portal sends down energy that is all about sharpening our minds, strengthening our intuition, increasing our Gnostic knowledge and deific downloads. It's also about the star is also said to be a resting place for souls before reincarnating back on Earth.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So in this energetic resting place, the soul has a chance to reflect on why it is once again coming to Earth and the lessons that it will obtain. So try thinking about channeling this cosmic energy into yourself and into your practice, and reflect on maybe the lessons you've learned so far in your life and taken with you. And once you move forward into the next days, the next weeks, etc., the next years, what are the next lessons that you want to learn? Because we're always learning. Just because we get out of school doesn't mean we stop learning.
Exactly.
And if you're a witch, if you're a magical practitioner, you're always learning. You're always studying.
Always.
And then again, lastly, on the 31st, it is the blue moon in Sagittarius. So the Sagittarius full moon will be a blue moon when we have 2 full moons in one calendar month, of course, and it is a rare event. It happens every 18 months or so, give or take. The Sagittarius blue moon helps to create strong energies of release throughout the month, which makes sense why between the first tonight and then in 30 days from now, there's all this emotional shit going on and reflective shit happening for May. So maybe we're wrapping up a chapter in our lives. A lot of us could be feeling like we're doing that, or starting a whole new book altogether. The Sagittarius full moon also encourages us to seek adventures. So get the fuck out there. Don't stay home. Get out there. Go live life. Get out after you watch our show.
Exactly.
Get out.
All the way through.
All the way through. Then go out and live life after you watch our show, because why would you not want to hang out with us?
We're just so cute.
Yes. You may find yourself seeking new experiences, or finally just bringing an end to something you've been working on for many years, whatever. Now is that time. So think about how you want to celebrate that conclusion and take that in with you into June. Yeah. So there you go. Astrology Mixology for May 2026. Learn it, live it, love it, let it guide you.
Also, if this is genetic, like, not every person has an ancestor who
Exactly.
was killed during
No, or had any involvement or anything to do with it.
Exactly. Like, there were plenty of people who were in that place at that time who had no issues at all.
Yeah. And weren't tied up in it.
No,
didn't know anyone.
Nothing to do with it. So does that mean that their ancestors or their descendants are also included?
They're female descendants, remember.
Oh yeah, because male witches don't exist.
Correct.
And nor did males get killed during the trials.
Correct.
Also, no animals or babies or anything. It's just booby havers.
Correct. What are we talking about, folks? The witch wound.
The witch wound.
Yeah. I'm not cutting that little rant out because, took a break. I had a rant.
We did.
I cut out the stuff before the rant, which is why it looks a little choppy. But there's also a lot of sneezing happening in the whole thing. And then we got to talking about the subject, and now here we are. So I'm not cutting that out. The witch wound. Now, this has been a term that has been floating around. I'm sure you guys have heard it. Hopefully, all of you who watch us and enjoy us also have your wits about you and you're smart people and you have not been perpetuating this thing. But
is it a boil? Is it a cut?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? But what we want to know is there an ointment for that?
I don't think so.
I do. It's called a quick dose of reality and a fucking potion of wake the fuck up.
That'll do it.
and one good shot of shut the fuck up.
I was trying to think of like a pun for Neosporin, but I can't think of one right now. So you're not getting one.
This one's boring. How about that?
Sure.
So the attention that I think has come to the witch wound stems, I think, from a lot from this book by Celeste Larson called "Heal the Witch Wound." Reclaim your magic and step into your power. Now, Celeste Larson has a very big presence on Instagram and other socials. She hosts like Heal the Witch Wound retreats in Ireland. She has a lot of really highly stylized videos of her frolicking through the Irish forests and countryside and saying, come spend $5,000 or pounds, whatever, and equivalent that to whatever your currency is on this retreat with me and other aesthetically super pleasing social media witches like Mia Magic or Magic Mia. I can't remember how she puts her handle. If there was like a trad wife,
witch.
trad husband version, a trad witch lifestyle and aesthetic, that's who these ones would fall into.
Right.
Like they're not kind of to look at. Like they're very Instagram friendly faces, very social media friendly appearances and fashions and sponsorship and lifestyle. I mean, Magic Mia or Mia Magic, whatever the fuck her name is, hers is all about like how she manifested her mansion and like all of her like, I've seen a tour with her and like, no, didn't we watch something that she was on?
Oh, I think we did.
And she was giving a house tour of her like place in LA or whatever.
Oh my gosh, we did watch that.
Yeah, I think it was one of those witch documentaries from season 1 that we reviewed for Witchy Media Review.
Yeah.
We'll have to go back and find it. But it's just this shit. And anyway.
It's like when Yule became like a trend on Instagram.
Oh my god, yes. Last
Yes.
this past Yule, this past winter. Oh my god, yes. And look, we're not against aesthetic.
No.
We're not against fashion. We're not against, clearly. Like, if you watch, like, we give, we serve, we live. Like, it's in our fucking opening, for fuck's sake. Like, we live for fashion and aesthetic and lux and beauty and all that shit. We're fire signs.
Exactly.
Like, of course. Like, we're drawn to that shit. We love jewelry. We love fine jewelry. We love luxury jewelry.
Yeah.
And we also are not ashamed of that.
No.
And if you come to us, you come for that shit. Like, so clearly we don't have issue with that.
No.
My issue is when it feels very pick-me. When it feels aesthetic.
For no other purpose.
And for no other purpose.
Yeah.
And it's not real. Like, it just, like, there are creators out there that I fucking love, but like, when they post photos on Instagram of them doing spell work, even if I love them and follow them and know they're the real deal, it kind of gives me a little pause because how am I doing effective spell work if I'm like positioning the tripod and the camera and like I'm taking pictures? Like, it's why we've never actually shown you, except for like some maybe very rare instances, like when we did the thing on finding fairies in an urban setting, doing an invocation to the like something like that, doing invocation to the fae folk or something, like kind of on the spot, whatever. But by and large, we don't actually do spell work on camera with you guys and doing SpellCraft, and we were very open about that. Like, we will, even if we're at the altar and we set shit up and candles and everything, they're usually not lit, and we're not doing, because we're not going to do the spell, and I'm not going to waste my candles on in advance. I'm going to waste her candles. We're not going to waste our shit on not when it's for spell work. We're not going to waste
it.
Not on spell work. You know what I mean? So even with creators and witch influencers and people on YouTube that I follow and admire, even when they're actively posting on social, like doing a spell, I'm like, are you really doing a spell though?
Right.
Like, I don't know. So I just, for me, like if I'm doing spell work, then it's just all hidden. There's no real aesthetic happening. Now, will I, after I've done spells, will I take pictures? Yes. Have I? Yes. But like the main candles and shit by that point are burnt out.
Right.
Are put out. Like maybe it's just the surrounding ones. But I feel like if you're like posing and you're doing like, and you're saying like, oh, and that's what you're doing while doing spell work. I don't know. It just is weird to me. But at least if I know they're the real deal.
Right.
But then there are people who just seem very aesthetic. And Magic Mia or Mia Magic, whatever, she's very aesthetic. I don't believe in the whole retreat thing.
Yeah, I agree.
The whole retreat thing, like, I don't know. But anyway.
It's like there was a time back when I first heard about witchy retreats that I was, my interest was piqued. But I am a very like private practitioner. Like for me, spell work is very, very personal. I love being around other witches, but not in that moment necessarily, unless I know them very, very well. Because I feel like there has to be a certain level of trust to do magic with another witch, at least for me.
Correct. I agree. I'm the same way.
But so it was like one of those situations where I loved the idea in theory, but then once I thought about the logistics of actually saving this money, spending it, going to this place, doing this retreat with other witches, it actually sounded like my personal hell, and that's why I will never do it.
Right. And this isn't actually about retreats. We just got sidetracked about Celeste Larson. But so back to her book. So I just want to kind of touch on kind of who the author is. So, and she's probably a really nice lady. I'm sure she's super nice. I don't know her. Celeste, if you are watching or if you get tagged in this, something I've sent to you, like, please know, like, this is not a judgment on you as a person. Absolutely not. But it's not even a critique of your book. Your book is just kind of like the entry point for this conversation, but we're going to actually kind of in this moment kind of spend very little
talking about the actual book.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more to do with the witch wound as a concept.
Yeah, and your book just whittles down the concepts very well in a way that it can be tackled. But this is not a critique on the book itself. I did read it. I attempted to read it. There was just a lot of things that were just very incorrect and also really inflated by that like Wicca neo-pagan mythos of the burning times, the witches' Holocaust, that I just see being perpetrated here and that I read from like numerous Llewellyn books in the 90s. So supposedly the witch wound, to get into it, is this wound that specifically women carry. And all women carry, apparently, but I guess only witches understand it. I don't know. The book just kind of is not very clear on where that goes, but supposedly it is this female wound from the burning times, which was from like the 1400s through the 1700s. And it manifests, it's generational epigenetic trauma that all women have, although you would have to have been in the trials.
Yes.
Like, it's not a collective thing, a psychic thing that just is given to all women, and it stems from the burning times, because an epigenetic trauma has to be genetically passed on.
Yes.
And there was a select group of ethnicities who experienced the burning times. And to me, this sounds just very, oh, look, I'm a white girl, I'm marginalized too, because I carry generational trauma from my ancestors during the burning times. Okay, please show me on your family tree exactly where and which relative was killed during the burning times. And let's also be clear, burning witches was mostly a German thing.
Yeah.
Most places hung, tortured, would burn after hanging. Most who did die actually died usually in jail from other shit.
Yes.
A huge number of the body count were from the incidental effects of it, not just straight up executed. But you would first have to show me who in your genetic line carries this witch wound.
Right.
Like, who was the progenitor of this? And then you would have to prove that epigenetic traumas carry through several centuries.
Yes.
But apparently in the modern setting, this trauma shows up as modern fears of being seen, judged, being seen as powerful, manifests as fear of speaking up, hiding your spiritual gifts, so being in the broom closet, self-doubt of yourself, shame, hesitation to claim your power. It's very like, as someone who has generalized panic disorder, like, so I am clinically diagnosed with a panic disorder, and generalized panic disorder simply means, if you don't know, it simply means that you can have an anxiety attack for almost no reason. Like, you can just suddenly find yourself in a state of panic. Anything can trigger, anything can set it off. And it used to be so debilitating that the panic attacks would literally feel like I was having a heart attack. Yeah. They were so debilitating that that people would call an ambulance, but because I couldn't even tell them for sure that it was an anxiety attack or it wasn't a heart attack. And it took a long time to learn techniques and things to overcome those things. But this is all just
normal experiences in life as you mature and grow.
So in this, what I find is that it's an excuse. I don't see non-white, non-Caucasian, specifically Anglo-Saxon, European descent Caucasian. I'm not talking about like my light skin, Latinos and African Americans, etc., Native, indigenous folk. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Blanca situation like here. I'm talking about Anglo-Saxon whiteness, of which I am but part. Despite what Tone says.
You're like, I'm not talking about this side. I'm talking about this side.
So, but I only see a certain type of pagan using the witch wound thing, and it seems very, very, I'm a victim.
Yes.
It seems very like, so for example, if a African American, well, I'll just say black because they don't necessarily have to be American. So if a black person who is not from Africa, let's say just like in the like European American black person, Canadian black person, black folk over here and on the western side of the world, who was, let's say, a practicing witch, and what I mean by is that they're a witch. So they're not even that they practice one of the diaspora religions of Africa, Dahomey, Santeria, Lakumi, Voodoo, Haitian Voodoo, New Orleans Voodoo, Hoodoo, Powwow, etc. I'm not, which is Powwow, I'm sorry, is Native American indigenous, but they all blended together, and taught each other everything, and that's kind of how you got American Voodoo and New Orleans and American Voodoo. And I would even say American Santeria. Yeah. Which I will say, though similar, is different from like traditional Lakumi.
Absolutely.
That you find really centralized in pretty much Florida. And yeah, there are like actual like Lakumi faith churches, but if you go into Mexico, you're gonna find people who are like, I practice Santeria. Yeah. Like you go into border places, it's Santeria. So there is, and one has more like New Orleans Voodoo, has that more heavily Catholic iconography. So does what I would call American Santeria. Yeah. It's more like what you find in South America, Brazil, where it's very much synchronicities with the saints, with saint idolization. Anyways, so, but I'm talking about like, just let's say a black person who worships and works with Cynardic, right? They live in Ireland and they work with the Celtic deities because they're African Irish. Right. I was like African American, African Irish. I don't know what they would call themselves. I think they probably just call themselves Irish or Black Irish to separate from like the other Black Irish. But
whatever it is.
Yeah, but if they were like, I have generational trauma or quote unquote witch wound surrounding me practicing and being open about my witchcraft, and I have all this shit wrapped up in it, and it's generational. It's nothing from what I've experienced from the people in my own life currently or my family, etc. But it's like generational shit eating at me. I would believe that. Right. Why? Because that is generational trauma that we can. That is epigenetic generational trauma that we can trace because it's been ongoing generationally. So part of the thing is the centralized oppression and trauma has to be perpetuated consistently on every generation, consistently, for it to for it to pass on through the centuries in such a way that then you would feel it. Because even if they're not practicing one of the African diaspora religions, and they're just practicing, a European form of witchcraft and working with indigenous Irish deities, the system that is oppression of African people in the African diaspora does find itself wrapped up in taking away their religion, the oppression and the removal of their spiritual faith, of the Home, of Lakuni, of Santeria, of Voodoo, like taking these things away, Candomblé, taking all these things away. And yeah, while it's a cousin to witchcraft, look, I'm just gonna, unpopular opinion, yes, you can say it's witchcraft and voodoo, et cetera, it's separate, not the same thing. And in some ways, sure, but they are. I'm sorry. It is. It's the same. There's magic, there's animism, it's witchcraft, okay? It's another form of witchcraft. However you want to call it, it's witchcraft. Shamanic magic, it's all, witchcraft is the same thing. Folk magic, hoodoo, powwow, it's all the same. It's all the same. High ceremonial work, formalized, closed face like Lakumi, hierarchies, degrees, ownership. There's magic, there's invocation. They're all systems. We're all jumping the same broomstick, basically. You know what I mean? And we're all stirring the same cauldron. And we're all feeding the congregation from the same cauldron. And we're all hydrating the congregation from the same chalice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if this person, this hypothetical person we're talking about, didn't practice those things and just worked with indigenous Irish deities, which they would have every right to, as well, as anyone would, especially if you're over there and you're treating them with respect and worship. You know what I mean? But if you're born there, especially, you know what I mean? Yeah. But if they were like, I have this generational witch wound trauma over it and over being open about it, that is tied up in so many other current systems of oppression of Black folk. That would make sense to me. That yes, you would have things around that. But that's also religious trauma. If you come from a family of deep, devoted Southern Baptists, you know what I mean? This is trauma of marginalization.
Yes.
But when we reframe it in the context of the witch wound, and then specifically say, oh, it's specific to women because the majority percentage of those killed during the burning times, which, I'm sorry, but oppression and killing of witches began way before the burning times. And the oppression of pagans began way before that. And so to contextualize it in the form of the burning times and in that narrow window, then yes, you can look at that and say, well, out of that, 60 to 70% were women. Okay, well, 20 to 30% were all men. You had 10% that were children. You had there were places where whole villages, it was men that were all accused and killed. And in Italy, the Belladante, famously one of those rare cases where basically everyone accused said, yeah, I'm a witch, but I'm a good witch. But it was all men. It was mostly men. And
the Benedonte were exclusively male witches, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, correct. There was on occasion, where then you would have a Belladante, which would be a female witch. But all those who were majority accused of witchcraft in Italy were men. And it was one of those rare instances where pretty much everybody was like, yeah, I was a witch. I'm a witch. Yeah, of course. But I protect the crops, the fields, blah, blah, blah. Which, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go out to season 1, our Walpurgis Night Belting special. We get all into the witches of Italy.
And there are actually, if you break it down to individual family lines, there are still family lines that exist where the males are the witches.
Yes, correct.
So I just think it's so much an erasure of male witches.
Yes.
And I think it's really inappropriate to say, if we're believing in in this concept, which I don't personally, obviously. However, if we're suspending disbelief and believing in it, I think if women are carrying this wound, I think it's extremely disrespectful to the descendants of the men who were killed, who also inherited that blood from them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, and that's the thing is
Like, why is the great grandson of a male witch killed? Why is their experience not as valid as the great granddaughter of a female witch?
Right. Well, and on top of that, most of the people killed for witchcraft or heresy, because let's be specific here. Let's broaden our scope.
Yeah.
Okay? Let us broaden our scope, because narrowing it down to the burning times, as people like Celeste Larson have done in her book, Heal the Witch Wound, is kind of reshape and rewrite the narrative when you narrow the scope. But if we broaden the scope and actually go to, like, for example, Joan of Arc.
Right.
She was not tried and killed specifically for witchcraft. Those accusations, witchcraft and heresy, but she was burned for being a heretic.
Yes.
But technically, it was for witchcraft. Many males tried for witchcraft, for heresy. It was usually for alchemy, magic, fraternal arts, or fraternal societies, secret societies, for sodomy, for being gay, where that was flat out, there was no even saving your soul, which we've talked about on the show before, so I'm not going to get so in depth at this point. But if you were a sodomite, they literally believed that you were a demon. You weren't possessed. You were an agent of the devil. You were not human. You were sent to corrupt. You were fucking thrown right on with the witches. Like, and it was the same fucking thing. Like, y'all were servants of Satan, creatures of hell. But at least the witch their soul could be saved or redeemed if they, confess or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Which usually was a tactic to get someone to confess, and then 9 out of 10 times they killed them anyway.
Right. Now, would I sit there and say, oh, I have a witch wound from that? No, I don't. Would I say that as a gay man, as a feminine gay man, who could not hide to save his fucking life and has paid a price dearly for it since I was in fucking preschool, do I have generational epigenetic collective trauma through as being gay? Absolutely. But it is shaped by society. Okay, so it's not internal. It's not internal epigenetic trauma that is just as a result of the homos before me.
Right.
No, the trauma that I experience and that can cripple me, that has shaped me, etc., is, yes, it's generational, but it's by a society that has not changed its ways, and that has continued to inflict the same harms and the same ideas and the same beliefs and the same bigotries, and never can ever go away, and shapes you a lot of times maybe at a very young age by getting called a girl for the first time, or a sissy, or getting spit on, and then it's just you live a daily hell for years and years and years through school every day of your goddamn life, being punished and othered for how you present, how you are, etc. And it's intrinsic things you cannot change. Like, I can't put you up for the fucking life of me. I tried so many times, I can't do it. And I have paid a price for that. And that has shaped me. And as I learned what it meant to be gay and discovered that what I was a gay person, and then learned the history of my people, the collection of my people, these other genetic mysteries, divine mysteries like myself, who we share this collective oppression and this collective marginalization, generational marginalization and trauma that is constantly still being perpetrated. Yes, I feel that.
Yes.
But that is not because someone in my family maybe was, a family member was killed for being a witch, you know what I mean? And they were a guy, and they were gay. Right. No, I don't have, that wouldn't have passed on to me.
It would, to meet the criteria of an epigenetic trauma, it would have to be the men in your family being killed for being gay witches systemically in every single generation. It's not going to last because it happened one time 200 years ago.
Right, yeah. And now, if you wanted to give me a book on the collective trauma of women in a patriarchal society and the collective outer trauma that we're talking about, that women now still experience generationally, as a collective, as women, yes, absolutely. I'm here for it.
100%.
But when you try to frame it within the witch wound in witchcraft, and then you have spell work in there and a journal, and just like it so follows the playbook of every Llewellyn handbook of witchcraft that was out in the fucking 90s and 2000s.
Yes.
And it perpetuates the stereotype of overinflated numbers of those killed during the burning times.
Yes.
And
overinflated numbers per gender.
Yeah. And it's always like the women's Holocaust, the witches' Holocaust. It was a Holocaust on women. It wasn't. It wasn't. No. Now, were women a huge chunk? Yes. But that was more because of the fact that it was easier to accuse a wife or daughter of witchcraft than it was to accuse the husband, who maybe had better standing in the community. Right. And it would be more scoffed at. But you want their fucking property. You want their land. Right. You accuse the wife. You accuse the daughter because it's more something, it's more accepted, believable. It wasn't specifically, oh, women, we hate women, let's go for women.
Exactly. I mean, especially after the release of the Malleus Maleficarum,
right?
Which
that line,
stated that that women were more susceptible to the devil, but it was about the devil. It was not about women. Correct,
and it wasn't, and it didn't even say no men.
No,
it said all were weak to the devil, men and women, and it didn't call men warlocks.
No,
they were all witches. All he was saying was that women, other than men, are the weaker sex, so they are more susceptible to the devil and his fucking promises, and they're more taken to lust, because the two authors of the Malleus were very sexually repressed men, incels of their day, but they didn't spare men, and they didn't spare sodomites and homosexuals. Like the Malleus is a whole goddamn hit list of people. It wasn't centered on women. No. But people have liked to cling to this script from the Malleus and say, well, see, it was a targeted thing on women. No, it wasn't. There were some places where the only people who got it were children and animals, the pets. Some places where it was all cats. And that really fucked them all over for plagues and shit. But like, and then if we open it up and we go to the Inquisition, which happened before the burning times, the Inquisition predates that. And way more men were fucking killed during the Inquisition, the Spanish Inquisition, for heresy, for consorting with the devil, for practicing the black arts, magic, alchemy. Yeah, I think that the concept of it is extremely
limited.
Well, it's just very, and it's just very pick me, and it feels very like, this is gonna excuse my shitty behavior.
Yeah, it seems like.
And this is not about the book, so we're kind of just, again,
just the concept.
She just has these points. I'm not here to review the book. Like I said, my opinions of it are not that great. I don't think it's a great book in any way, shape, or form. But that's besides the point. It's on the broader topic of this. And it feels very, I'm oppressed too.
Right. It feels like something that would appeal to a certain kind of woman who wants to be dwelling in suffering and is looking for a reason to do so that she can point to.
Like, are there epigenetic and collective traumas and marginalization? Absolutely. And can they persist through the centuries? Absolutely. Yes. But usually that has to do with the systems that operate, so perpetuating those things on those people, which then in turn keeps these genetic markers, these shifts, these changes continuing.
Exactly.
For queer people, does the lived continuous trauma of being queer in a cis-hetero world, oppressive world, have an effect that does, like with any trauma, affect you genetically? Absolutely. And as any trauma does, it changes our chemistry, it changes our brain chemistry, it changes how we develop, how we operate. But that's a result of outside things, and that's not necessarily something that would then just pass on automatically.
No.
Again, if this was about collective female trauma,
that's completely different.
Yeah. And you didn't limit it to the burning times and frame it within a context of witchcraft.
Right.
If you just said, I'm going to address the women's wound and talk about all these things, and you could include the burning times, I wouldn't do that. I would be historically accurate about it. But however you want to present it, whether fact or the inflated neo-pagan Wiccanness of the 80s and 90s.
Right. You can still cover that time period.
And if you're talking the things, the anxieties and shit you're talking about specific to women, that would make more sense. But if you're talking about the witch wound, then you have to talk more about the collective outside continual systemic systems of oppression against witches, pagans, blah, blah, blah. And that's not necessarily so easily defined.
Right.
That would more fall under like a collective trauma from like Abrahamic faiths or Judeo-Christian, Islamic centered oppression.
Which, speaking of which, I think it's actually very limiting to limit the scope of this collective trauma to 1450 to 1750, when it's like, what about the trauma that was experienced by people during Christianization?
Exactly. Like, but how does, like, if you're not a witch, right? You're not a witch. You're just a woman. You're just a woman living your life. And you're feeling these feelings, these anxieties, this smallness, this whatever, this shame. But you aren't a witch. You don't practice witchcraft. Maybe you're super Christian. Witchcraft is evil, the devil, blah, 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 blah. Then do you have a witch wound? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I feel like the witch wound, it doesn't make any sense, because what you're talking about, the women who were accused, the women who did the accusing, all this shit, most of them did not practice any type of folk magic, traditional magic, any type of any magic whatsoever. Most of them were pious fucking Christians.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have passed down some witch-related shit to you.
Right.
And how is it that did everyone else, all the women before you throughout the generations, continue to tell the story of, you know, Goody Mary, and how Auntie Goody Mary and your great aunt Goody Mary, and how she was a practicing witch, and this is what they did to her, and we're all practicing witches, and we've retold this story, and we are prosecuted and perpetrated. Like, no, none of that is happening here.
And did every member of every generation continue to still get harmed or killed for being a witch through the centuries since then?
Right. Or was it just this? So even if you have this relative, this ancestor you can reach back to, are they the only one?
Right.
Was there any after? And I don't mean their immediate afters, like their children and shit, because we all know that that would happen a lot of times.
Right.
I mean generations and generations after.
Like you,
because I bet not.
Like you grew up experiencing this. Your mom, your grandmother, your
kids were like, witch, you were a witch, and threw shit at you, and they did that to your aunt, your mom, and her aunt, and her uncle, and blah blah blah. Like, did that happen? Because if not, then you have no witch wound. You have no trauma. It would have to be, to frame any of a witch wound, as it were, to be legitimized, to be legit. You would have to be able to point to a relative in your life, in your family, who was a practicing witch, pagan, heathen, etc., and was tortured, killed, put to death for it. And generations of your family since then have had constant repercussions from a cruel society against all of you and framing you as witches and evil, so that you have this oppression and this trauma and shit. This just feels very, I'm gonna blow my friends off even though I made plans with them. It's self-care. And then if someone calls you, one of your friends calls you out on it, you're like, don't come at me so accusatory. I have a witch wound. And accusations really trigger me and take me back and trigger what the feeling of great Aunt Goody Mary being accused of a witch. And I can feel it.
It's the curse of my bloodline.
Yeah. Like, that's not happening.
No.
That's not happening. So you don't have, there is no witch wound. There isn't. And this makes light of actual epigenetic traumas.
Exactly.
And intergenerational traumas. Like, those things do exist. But most of the time when they've been proven, it's only by like a couple generations. And once circumstances get better and evolve, studies have shown that those genetic markers disappear.
Right.
Like, this is not a lasting thing, not certainly by hundreds and hundreds of years.
No.
And it's certainly not a collective, especially when most of the people accused of being witches weren't even witches. They didn't practice witchcraft.
No.
Then it was not an oppression of genuine witchdom that you yourself now practice in this modern day and age and believe in this modern day and age.
Right.
So how do you carry some witch wound? Like, to me, this sounds like I am sitting there and amongst like, I'm at a happy hour. We're after work happy hour, so clearly not Gen Zers. But I'm at an after work happy hour, and it's me, and I'm the white girl, and then there's, Lupe, the Hispanic, and there is Joan, and she's black, and there is Crystal, and she's Asian, and there is, there's Tom, and he's a big old fucking flaming queen and can't do anything about it. And they're all sitting there and they're having a conversation about shared experiences as marginalized people and connecting over that, while different, there is still that shared experience of being marginalized and being of marginalization, and not feeling like, or knowing that there is a certain amount of privilege that comes with her whiteness, especially she's got blonde hair, blue eyes. She's afraid that even if she has felt things as a woman, she in herself feels like that is not good enough.
Right.
So instead, what she says is, well, I have what's called a witch wound. And then she explains it's epigenetic generational trauma from the burning times where this, the Holocaust on women, and then you get the whole fucking spiel of the 80s and 90s that, over 100,000 women, hundreds of thousands, almost some even think 1 million, like, and a lot of like Dianica Wicca brought to you by Z Budapest.
Yes.
Flavor of shit. And where it's just very much women have a monopoly on witches and witchcraft and connecting with the divine feminine. When so many gods and goddesses, so many supreme goddesses, as we know, had, in some cases, exclusively male priesthoods and had no women, whereas just like you had goddesses who did have just females. HEKA-TEA, for example, her torchbearers, her daughters, they were her warrior like witch army, and they were men, and they were man on top of that, like, and there's a long history of that. Kibble famously, even Aphrodite, I believe, in her as bearded Aphrodite, had male devotees. There was, so even in the wide world of paganic history, I don't know, I'm just making up words here, but it's all genders. It was so erasing then, and has created this like idea of monopoly. So then when you watch documentaries where they talk with witches, modern day witches, you rarely see men. It's like almost always, and that's what's so infuriating, is I'll be watching some really good documentaries on like modern day witches and witchcraft, and they're just talking to women. And you'll get lucky here and there. Well, they'll feature one witch, and of course he's always gay, because almost all the time we are. But most of them, no, it's just women. It's just women. And I think that's toxic feminism, personally. I think it's toxic feminism. And it's also very white.
I just feel like
it's very just that colonization approach of like just very appropriative of just like, no, everything is ours.
Right.
Like when straight girls start invading gay bars and gay spaces, and then they like literally then drag their fucking douchey boyfriends in, and then they fucking claim it as their own. And then if gay men are like, whoa, like these are our spaces, it's, oh, you're a misogynist, it's misogyny. Oh, it's gays hating women, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, you guys come in, and then it's like the whole fucking heated rivalry shit in the MM space. Like, you have women who are like, MM romance and MM fiction is women's spaces, and men need to get out. We don't care about the opinions of gay men on heated rivalry and all this shit. This is written by women for women. Do you know what that sounds like? This book about Black people was written by a white woman for white women. That's exactly what that sounds like. Exactly what that sounds like. And we don't want to hear what a Black woman has to say about these characters. This is a story about Black women written by a white woman for white women. That's what that sounds like. That is literally what that sounds like. There is no difference. There's literally no difference. And so this is toxic feminism. This narrative is.
I also think in a world such as we live in today, where things are increasingly very, very scary for witches and pagans, I feel like as a female witch, how can you not support and stand by your witch brothers?
Right. I just think that it's dangerous and more so just pick me demeaning to like claim this witch wound trauma, because it makes light of, because people aren't going to take it seriously. Look, just people are not taking that seriously. They're just not. Like, that doesn't exist. You can't prove a witch wound. It just the semantics of what makes up epigenetic trauma, even collective, we'll say marginalized trauma, external trauma, that yes, you can then experience physically, like PTSD, but it's not a trauma you inherited. It is a trauma that, because of your situation in life as a part of some marginalized group or another, the majority has chosen to punish you for it.
Right.
And as a result of what's being inflicted upon you over time, it has wreaked havoc upon you in other ways and manifested in other ways. But there is no, unless, like I said, you can literally point to your ancestor and show how this has continued to be perpetrated throughout the line, there is no wound. You are experiencing anxiety.
Right.
You're having a panic attack. You are having experiences of self-doubt and fears because maybe your family, you come out of the broom closet and your mom, who you love so much, and she's elderly and you don't want to upset her and maybe lose out on the last remaining years of your life with her because she's super hardcore Christian. And if you know that if you were to tell her that you're a witch or whatever, she'd be like, oh, fuck no. And that would be that. And so you're just like, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to keep it to myself, blah, blah, blah. Like that fucking sucks. And you're in the broom closet. But that wasn't inherited. That's a conditional thing.
Right.
That you have been conditioned to where now you have to make yourself small. You can't come out of the broom closet. There is trauma, again, as a woman that you have experienced as women that will then, yes, can show up in situations, of course. But that's also because of a society that has always reminded you of what it thinks of women since the day you were fucking born.
Right.
And so therefore you have been conditioned to, just as so many straight boys have been conditioned to show no emotions and boys don't cry, etc. And so they grow up getting the tears beaten out of them and yelled out of them until they are conditioned to where they can no longer produce tears and they no longer know how to express emotion. And that's another thing we get left out of this conversation when we talk about toxic men and all that shit, is we also leave out of the conversation though, what was done to the boy to beat the empathy out of him, to beat the tears out of him.
Yep.
What did we do to the boy to condition him to have a heart hardened, to reject even the slightest tinge of vulnerability? I mean, I even remember being told as a kid at once by one of my mom's boyfriends, boys don't cry. So I was like crying, and it was a whole fucking thing, and he's like, boys don't cry. And I was immediately told, not a few days later, when it came up again, my aunt was like, listen to me. Don't ever listen to don't let anyone ever tell you boys don't cry. Men cry. Real men cry. Real men feel their emotions, and there's nothing wrong with emotions, and it's okay to feel, and it's okay to express your pain and your hurt. So never not cry. And more boys need to hear that. Most boys don't. Yeah. But they start out sensitive. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of mothers who perpetuate this very heterosexist, fucking homophobic fucking shit on their little boys. And so that stuff is all taught by a society it's conditioned in. And then yes, it does have a physiological repercussion upon you. But it's not something you inherited. No.
You were not born with that.
Yeah, boys are not born being like, boys don't cry.
Right.
I will never shed a tear.
Right.
I will not express emotion. I will not have empathy or sympathy for those weaker than me.
That is learned behavior.
That is learned behavior that then, yes, has physical repercussions on that.
And it is perpetuated through the centuries of masculinity,
correct,
but it is not inherited at the moment of birth.
No. Just like this trauma, this witch wound is not inherited. Plus, on top of that, if you were to say, okay, this exists, then you can't say it's all women, because not all women went through the burning times. The burning times, if you actually want to get specific and we're to really regulate it to burning, when we say the burning times, we're encompassing Salem, we're encompassing England, like it all. But if we were to actually mean the burning times, we would just be talking about Germany, basically, specifically, and Spain for heretic. Well, no, because we're not even counting heretics. It's the Inquisition.
It's just witchcraft.
So, yeah, because by the time the witch craze hit, which is what it's really called, the witch craze epidemic, which it was an epidemic, a psychological epidemic, and a fear epidemic, and a societal epidemic, and a religious epidemic. But that's what it was. It was a craze. It was the witch craze, and that's what you're trying to refer to. But if you're actually referring to the burning times, you'd be looking at basically fucking Germany. Because by the time the witch craze happened, Spain had learned from the Inquisition, and there actually was very low prosecutions and accusations of witchcraft and witch trials during the witch craze in Spain, because they had really learned their lesson from the Inquisition.
Exactly.
And we're trying to do better. Which again with Italy, which is why with Italy, we saw that the way the witch craze was handled in Italy with the Benedante and Validante, most were not killed, most were not put to death, because Italy experienced the Inquisition as well. They were right there with Spain, so they were all geographically right fucking there. And again, by the time the witch craze happened, they were like, we're not really gonna fucking kill people at this point. We don't need to do that. We already got a lot of blood on our hands. The burning times was fucking that's where they mostly burned people for witchcraft.
That's true. Now, since we talked about practical magic too earlier,
yes,
I will say, if Sally or Jillian Owens wants to say, I have a witch wound, that is legit.
correct.
Because
They have an ongoing
they have
curse.
They have a generational curse involving the loss of a loved one that every woman in their family has experienced, going back to their ancestor Maria, who cast a spell that turned into a curse affecting each woman in their bloodline.
Correct.
That is a witch wound.
Yes, that is a witch wound. That is inherited, epigenetic, generational trauma from something. You know what I mean? Like, it just, that is what that is. That is a witch wound. You feeling certain ways because you are a woman in society, in a patriarchal society that constantly reminds us how it feels about women and other marginalized, minority, weak communities and people, then yeah, you do. You definitely 1,000% do. But if you're sitting there being like, oh, I have a witch wound, I have to heal this witch wound, and oh, blah, 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 and you don't. You have a pick-me syndrome. You have pick-me syndrome. You want to be seen as a victim. You want people to feel sorry for you. You want people to go, oh, poor you, because you want to feel part of the conversation. Because you don't feel like, especially knowing that if you are a white woman, especially of a certain socioeconomic background, that you have some advantages in life. And though everybody else would acknowledge the oppression that women experience, you are afraid that in that moment, those other people have more valid oppression or traumas than you do from their marginalization. So then you cough up not only coming out of the broom closet if they don't already know, but then talking about your witch wound. And it just feels very, very picky. Very picky. Also, a retreat to go heal your witch wound, because now she's in County Cork, Ireland, the author Celeste Larson. And she's doing shit with Magic Mia or Mia Magic, whatever. Like, it feels very cash grab.
Yeah.
It feels very inauthentic. Now, apparently, she talks about witchcraft and paganism, etc., on her socials. I haven't gone and looked. I don't really have a desire to, because again, this wasn't about her book per se, but the subject. But she chose to dip in the waters and create a self-help guide to heal your witch wound with spells and a workbook and information on how to drop cash on her retreat and go join her for some luxurious, like, why not? Like, if someone was just like, we're gonna do a bougie witchcraft retreat, would you like to come? We're gonna go to a spa or do some shit at a castle, and like, it's gonna be this whole fucking thing, and it's gonna be bougie and luxe as fuck.
Right.
And you were just honest about it, sign me up.
Right.
Because that's what all these things end up offering.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care what you package it in with and say, oh, well, we're going to do shadow work in this beautiful Irish glen under this oak tree. And we're going to find clovers and make clover wreaths to crowns to bless ourselves. Like, whatever, blah, 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 deal with our shit, whatever, blah, blah, blah. In the end, it costs $5,000+ to attend. And there's a private chef. And there's all this fucking shit. It's just a spa retreat for bougie witches.
Right.
And it's an opportunity for you to make fucking money and be wealthy. Because you have other influencers in the witchcraft, witch talk, witchfluencer sphere who are super photogenically pretty and thin and rich. And what they leave out is the fact that so many of them had like parents that were stable and had money, and they had a little bump and a little help along the way. Like,
right. And witchcraft retreats are so increasingly common over the past few years, I feel like.
Yeah. And
which is fine. I mean, get that bag and all. But I do see like a lot of witchy content creators that like, you think that you're reading a post about this one subject, and then it has to end with like, buy a ticket to my retreat to learn more.
Right.
You know?
Right. Or, you know, buy shit from my shop or my workbook or my lesson. There's so many fucking lessons out there, like you talked about, like with Saged, like courses, so many courses out there.
So many.
And I can't take you seriously if you say you have a witch wound. I can't take you seriously unless you, like I said, unless you can point on a fucking family tree, your relative, your super long great aunt Goody Mary, was fucking killed for witchcraft, and your family has never forgotten it and has actively been oppressed by it, and therefore your family has all developed these like behaviors and symptoms and ways of react, like etc. You don't have a witch wound. Now, if you were harassed, oppressed, whatever, you dealt with shit for being pagan, for being a witch, and you have trauma surrounding that, and it has, as a result, affected, like, you are afraid to leave the house, or you can't speak out in public places, or whatever these other symptoms are of the witch wound, then yeah, you have a witch wound.
Right.
But that's not something you inherit genetically from ancestor witches from the burning times.
Right.
That's because you grown up with witch, you're a witch.
Right.
And like, you grew up in the Bible Belt and you got the shit kicked out of you and beat out of you for being pagan and all this shit.
You own a pagan shop and a Christian came in and beat you.
I was literally just about to say that. You own it, yeah. I was literally going to say you own a witchcraft shop and a bunch of Christians came in, like, beat the crap out of you, or like which we've talked about. Yes. Or they've come and like sung, fire on the pyre of the Lord or whatever outside your fucking shop and got all fucking KKK newsy with it. Like, that's a witch wound. Yeah. You would have trauma around that, and that trauma would be related specifically to witchcraft. That is a witch wound. Not some bullshit made up thing that you're claiming, which if put to the fucking coals, toes to the fucking fire, you would be like, well, no, I don't have an ancestor who was tried for witchcraft. Oh, you don't? Oh, okay. Well, then you don't have a witch wound. Shut up. Like, you just don't. No. And there are other marginalized groups, people, etc., who do have epigenetic traumas, intergenerational traumas that are very legit, and that they already have issues getting the broader white, cis, Christian, hetero society to take seriously as it is already. Doing shit like this and making up a trauma and being traumatized over something that happened hundreds of years ago to someone that you most likely are not related to, do not know, never have known about, never will have met, and doesn't exist, cheapens it. And it honestly, it gives more credence to the fact that, like, oh, that's all bullshit. There's no such thing. Like, you black folk gotta be quiet. You don't got no Jim Crow traumas that you're still dealing with. Like, what are you talking about? It's been 70 years. It's been 60 years. What are you talking about? Like, there are people still alive today who literally were alive before Jim Crow laws were struck down. Like, those are in systemic racism, systemic oppression of black people is still a fucking thing that never went away and continues to be perpetrated and perpetuated. Hence, therefore, yes, black folk are going to actually show signs of epigenetic trauma that has carried and changed and then been passed down. That is possible, and in part because the society, the systems that built that, continue to perpetuate the cause of that. Whereas studies, again, as we quoted earlier, have shown that changing the circumstances around those traumas make those genetic markers disappear. They do not progress or continue. They actually disappear in that current generation. So you need a lot of mechanisms in place to make that a thing. Right. And there just isn't that for the witch wound. So if you are claiming the witch wound and you already belong to some type of oppressed, marginalized group, community, etc., you don't need to do that. You already have enough. You don't need an extra pick-me. Like, you have enough already. You're a practicing witch. You're a polytheist. You're a pagan. Congratulations. You live in a society that doesn't like that. Like, you deal with like Christian shit and like coming at you and all that shit. Then you already have something. Right. That is a witch wound, and that is current. You're gay. You're black. You're fucking anything other than white and a man. Guess what? You already do have traumas that you have experienced and that have shaped you. You don't need to also now be like, I have a witch wound because I'm a woman and I carry this epigenetic intergenerational trauma from the burning times just because I have a vagina. Not because I'm related to anyone who was actually punished or killed or accused for witchcraft. And my family, no one in my family practices witchcraft. And in fact, everyone in my family has been a pastor in the church for the past 275 years. And that's only as far back as our family history goes. Oh, and none of that is a witch. Well, I'm pretty sure that my great-great-granny was. They said that she knew things before. Well, okay, was she beaten for it? Was she punished? Like, what? No, she went to the Pentecost. She was in the Pentecost, and she fucking went to service and hallelujah and all that. Oh, okay. You don't have a witch wound. And you don't even have a confirmation that granny was You don't know you inherited anything. No. Now, do I believe that everyone who is a witch and has found themselves in witchcraft and dedicated and devoted to it, paganism was always meant to be? Yes. Absolutely. I don't think you stick with it and stick with being a witch if you weren't one.
Right.
We know plenty of people who dip their toes for a giggle, and after 6 months they move on, and maybe they don't turn Christian and shit, but they just also just like, it wasn't for me. I never really understood it, but I have friends who are witches, but I'm just me and I'm just agnostic and whatever. Right. Okay, or I'm an atheist, whatever. Okay, cool. Clearly you were not a witch.
No.
It didn't resonate for you. It wasn't there. So I do believe that everyone who is a witch is meant to be a witch. But that doesn't mean you are a hereditary witch who inherit it, especially if you can't pinpoint anything. And you certainly don't have generational trauma or a witch wound if you don't have anyone in your family who was persecuted for it.
Right. Any whoozle floozle, that is our 2 cents on the witch.
Yes. And is there an ointment for that? Yes. We think we gave it to you. It's called common sense. Hopefully you already had it and you could just follow along and laugh at this ridiculous concept with us. All right. Now it is time to once again return to the always chilly and always damp and always foggy and gray lanes and hollows of Greendale to once again join Sabrina Spellman, her aunts Hilda and Zelda Spellman, her familiar Salem, and her cousin Ambrose, and his stupid boyfriend Luke, and all the fucking annoyingly stupid people at Baxter High for, the annoyingly self-righteous people at Baxter High for the chilling adventures of Sabrina rewatch. Yeah, this show would be so much better without Susie, Roz, and Harvey.
Right. Although, you know, Prudence is kind of growing on me.
See, no, I love Prudence.
Yeah.
Prudence is great.
I at first was like, you know, but over the last like couple of episodes, I've warmed to her.
Yeah.
Ever since the episode where she's scheduled to die, honestly.
Yes, where she wanted to be devoured.
Yes.
Yes.
Her character growth since then, I've been enjoying.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah, okay. Let's just get into it.
Right.
So, in between the last episode, which was the Witching Hour, we had A Midwinter's Tale, which we had already reviewed for our Saturnalia special. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Even though it's not the season anymore, who cares? We're not, it's not Christmas, we're not Christian, right. So even though there's a Christmas tree behind us and everything, like, we're talking about like Saturnalia in Rome, so like it doesn't feel super holiday-y still, so really informative, go watch it. But that's where we reviewed A Midwinter's Tale for obvious reasons. So that was skipped, and we just got to part 2 or season 2, episode 1, The Epiphany, chapter 12. So Sabrina has, of course, come out of the broom closet to everyone in her life, all the mortals in her life. Mm-hmm. And now she just is like, I don't think they want to see me anymore, blah, blah, blah. So she decides that she's going to attend the Academy of the Unseen Arts full-time. Now, this Father Blackwood is obviously a big misogynist.
Right. And
he proposes, he's against this Sabrina running for this thing called the Top Boy, which I guess is like student body president. And historically, it's always been a boy, just like there's only ever been a high priest and a high priestess of the Church of Night, no women. And he doesn't want her to do it. Girls can't do it, but she challenges the misogyny and is like, I'm gonna fucking do it. And Nick Scratch, who wants to bang her, is like, yeah, totally, do it. So I support this. So she does. And almost immediately, these 3 powerful kings of hell, demons, Asmodeus, Person, and Beelzebub, all come to like try to kill her. If any of you watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it was like, what was it? Becoming? Was it Becoming 1 and 2, or was Becoming the season 2 finale? Anyway, Buffy's birthday, which was like, and it was like a mid-season thing, and these fucking 3 assassins, demonic assassins, come to like kill Buffy, and she has to kill them one by one. It was totally this.
Yeah.
Let's rip that off completely.
Speaking of things that this episode ripped off, how could we not discuss during the competition between her and Nick Scratch? She's receiving help from Prudence and the other weird sisters.
Yes.
Because she doesn't really know what the fuck she's doing.
Yes.
Because it was a very last minute decision. And so they're feeding her the answers through witchcraft, and she's rattling them off, and Father Blackwood is getting all pissed off, and it's literally a line-by-line rip-off of the scene in The Omen 2.
Oh, right. It's also, though, a rip-off of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Oh, yeah, that too.
And then there's 3 trials that they have to do, just like in Harry Potter, to win the cups, the Goblet of Fire. It's just, yeah, it was a redundant repetition of so many other things.
So many things.
You are so far. Come scooch.
Oh, okay.
I had to move her. It was, as you guys saw, she had like a whole empty space there. The whole thing, it was driving me crazy. Anyway, back on subject.
Anyway.
So it was just influenced by a lot of things. But she's immediately attacked by these 3 plague kings of hell. And Miss Wardwell becomes the principal of Baxter High because she ate the previous one and has now taken his position. And Susie tries out for the all-boys basketball team at Baxter High. Clearly, Susie's a boy at this point. Like, it's clear that Susie is a trans man.
And he announces his new name.
Yes, at the end of the episode, Theo. Congratulations.
Yay, Theo. Honestly, I like Theo better than Susie. Right?
Now, Susie faces a lot of homophobia from the basketball team. And I say homophobia because they specifically call Susie a dyke.
Yeah.
The hate that she receives is not transphobia, because at this point she's not openly trans and she's not identifying as trans.
Right.
So she's just getting homophobic, heterosexist remarks thrown at her about being a homo and a dyke. She's like, God damn it. At the urging of her Aunt Hilda, because Sabrina now has her platinum blonde, because she's gone bad, she's witchy now, she put her name in the dark book and signed it over, and she became a full woo and all that shit. So she's been avoiding everybody, and Hilda convinces her to go check out because Susie's trying out the basketball team. She gets there, and from the bleachers above, she does some spell work, very Samantha Bewitched style, does some spell work, and makes sure that Susie or Theo gets all the baskets into the hoops and makes the basketball team. During the Conjuring Challenge, Sabrina and Nick use the competition to summon the 3 demons who are attacking Sabrina, because she believes that Father Blackwood is behind it and that he was the one who summoned them. And as a result, he banishes the demons before they can really spill anything. And then he appoints Ambrose as top boy. So, I mean, good for a sister going up. Yay to my gay brethren. Well, he's like bisexual, so queer brethren. But it's obviously a power play move and clearly foreshadowing that, like, Father Blackwood has ill intentions and will probably just be trying to use Ambrose as a puppet. Zelda asks Father Blackwood if he'll go public about their relationship because they've been hooking up for a while now before his wife died. And everyone knows, and it's a whole thing, and there's drama, and she's like, will you come out and legitimize our relationship? And then if you do, I feel like all these bitches will shut the fuck up and leave me alone. And he's like, no, girl, I'm not doing that. And so she was like, okay, well, then you're not getting any of this prime witch pussy. So, sorry, but Kitty Shop is closed. Cat Cafe is done. It's been shut down, as they all should be. So that's a rant for another story. But, you know, just... I'm clean. I don't care if, I go into a separate room and pet the kitties, they're not crawling around No, it's just, no, they don't belong together. I'm sorry for all of you who love a cat cafe. They don't, no, just no. Let's see, Roz has a cun. She touches Harvey's hand and she cuns. And it's Harvey being all sexy and leaning her against a locker, and removing her glasses off to reveal the beautiful non-glassed lady underneath it all.
Because it couldn't be a teen show without that.
Right. We all gotta have that she's all that moment.
Exactly.
And then they like make out like horny rabbit whores on the locker. And then I'm gonna put this back on. Let me go with my outfit. And then yeah, Lilith summons the Dark Lord with his broken, like he has a broken fucking horn.
Oh, he does.
And it bothers the fuck. He's got like one long ass fucking goat horn, ram horn, and then the other one is like broken. Like it's been broke off. Like, and it just is like really like he's like janky. He's like janky, really. Like he's like from like the bargain bin. He's been like broken by as is. All right, like, but she summons the Dark Lord because she's like, it really seems like you have way more interest in Sabrina than how you presented it to me. Now I want to know the truth, girl. Spill it. And then the episode ended.
Yeah.
It'd be so much better without the mortal friends. I'm sorry, but Roz and Theo and fucking Harvey, like, I don't even feel like their purpose is genuine.
Right.
Like, I feel like they're there to be the anchor to the viewer, because the viewer is just a normal person.
Right.
Unless they're the witch. then obviously you're on the witch side of things,
Right.
and it's not that weird. But for most viewers of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, they're just people. They're not witches, they're not pagans, heathens, occultists, whatever.
Right.
This isn't their fucking shit. They're not calling, they're whatevs. They're being in existence.
They're like, oh, witches, fantastical.
Yeah, and
You know?
so their bridge is, just like in Buffy, it was Xander Harris, the everyman. In most, Gossip Girl, Dan Humphrey was
Right.
the everyman who's guiding the everyman viewer into this world, whatever that world be. Her friends be that for the viewers of this.
Yes.
But they're also there to serve the topical social issues.
Yes. And
Of the
boy,
day.
do they serve it up.
Boy, do they serve it. That's what they click with. It's always if you took them out of it, the like situational topical of the week shit wouldn't, well, I guess since it's Netflix of the year, wouldn't be there.
Right.
Not that those things aren't important to address, but like at some point you just want a show about Sabrina and the witches and
Right.
just their shit going on. And honestly, when you go hang out with Roz, when you hang out with Susie or Theo, Harvey especially, God.
Especially his dad.
They just take you out of it. They take you out of what's going on. And that's because, like, for example, the Melissa Joan Hart Sabrina show from the 90s and early 2000s, you didn't really linger with the mortal friends.
No.
Unless Sabrina was hanging out with them.
Right.
Namely because it was a sitcom on a fucking channel, and they only had 2 or 3 sets. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was very set dependent.
Yes.
But it also, you spent most of your time with Sabrina and the Spellmans in the house and Salem, and you didn't really hang out with the mortals unless she was at school or on a field trip at the mall. Unless she was hanging out with those characters, you weren't with them. In this, you're fucking with them. Even when Sabrina's not. Like, had we followed her, then we literally would have only seen them when she goes to the basketball game.
Right.
Because in the entire episode, she literally doesn't hang out with them or see them. Like, we would not, like, just think about that. Had it been centered on Sabrina and that was it, it wouldn't have been until she goes to the basketball game that we would have seen them in the episode. Exactly. And that was that's the episode I want.
Right.
That's the episode I wanted. Like, I just don't think that they bring anything to it.
No.
I personally think that they're a hindrance to the show. I think they drag it down.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I feel like I had one and it's just now vanished from my brain.
It's okay. Maybe you'll have a con.
Maybe I will
and
have
remember it. You'll have a con and remember it.
Oh my god. Oh, Roz and her con.
Roz and her con. And I love that she has this vision, and it's like so like just the glass is off. Like it's so that I'm a beautiful girl underneath it all. Like,
see, I thought it would be really funny if during the con vision, if she was already blind.
Well, and what's so funny is I could be wrong because I haven't watched any of these since those seasons would drop, with the exception of A Midwinter's Tale that I usually watch every Christmas time, holiday time. But I almost feel like what ends up happening is you think she's going to go blind, or she temporarily actually does in one episode, but then like not only does her vision come back, but better than ever, and she no longer needs the glasses.
Oh my god, that's not happened to me. Am I a con?
God, you are a con. Oh my god, you con all over the place.
Yeah, I wore glasses from like 4th grade to, I don't know, maybe like age 15. And then I did contacts for like a couple years. And then the next time that I went into the eye doctor, my vision had corrected and I had 20/20 after that.
Oh my goodness. That is amazing.
I know.
Maybe it's the con.
Maybe it is the con. Too bad all of my grandparents are passed away now, so I can't ask them
if they con.
If they shared their con with me.
Hey, Grandma, did you con? Grandp, did you con? I need to know. I've been conning a lot lately, and I need to know. What did you do when you conned? Kill me. All right. Next, we have SpellCraft. But before we get into SpellCraft, maybe you're like, where is Promenade of the Gods? You haven't been like, oh, now a preview of the next episode. Promenade of the Gods is still happening. I was able to get the first 3 episodes up. which was grueling. I kind of in a rush because I wanted to get them at least the first 3 up before Spring Mysteries. But that wore me into the fucking ground. And I do really like to take my time with things. So the rest of the series, Promenade of the Gods, producing the Spring Mysteries, including the series finale episode of the documentary, all, you know, with stuff we didn't show you from Spring Mysteries on what little time we kind of had to show, which was still like a 3-hour long episode. This is just going to be obviously focused on the production and the shit itself as the series has been. That is still happening. I'm still working on it. So those episodes, the rest of the episodes of Promenade of the Gods will drop soon. So, and then once again, we will announce them on the show and preview them as we have. But yes, just wanted a quick note on that. So that's still going on, and I hope you're enjoying the series. Now back to SpellCraft. And we are once again returning to Spring Mysteries 40 to join AJ Appleby embarks on an automatic drawing session with me. Take a look.
Going. Okay, so I'm primarily an empath and clairvoyant, so I'm going to be getting intuitive and empathic messages as well as visual messages. I don't have the context, so I'll be asking questions as well so I can understand the actual messages that they intend for you. It's not a seance, I'm not summoning anybody. We're not telling the future, but we can invite and we can ask advice. The rest I think you know. So, what is it that you would like to gain clarity on today?
Oh God. What do I want to gain clarity on today? I would say, clarity. I guess the clarifying thing that I want is just to know that, like, is the path I'm taking in terms of, like, how I'm, like, the opportunities I'm seizing upon or looking at to move things forward in my career. Like, so for example, here we go. Yes and no.
So this is why the question's good to ask.
So the real truth is like, the whole reason I'm starting the show again, like, yes, passion of witchcraft, all that shit, but was really because my publicist was like, you need to do something with your social media.
So the show was after the books?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The books was back in, the first one was in 2005.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been 20 years. Yeah. And she was like, this is new media, you have to move into it, this is what you got to figure out what you love. And she of course was just like, do a YouTuber to talk about writing, and I was like, that's not what the fuck I care about. So I went to HEKA-TEA, and the night of the full moon on the 15th or 17th of October, she was like, do this show. And I was like, all right. And she was like, but you got to do these things. So far on paper, it feels very like, yeah, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And there have been some increase in book sales, and which is good because that's what you want. And, you know, with everything in the world going on in the past couple of years, book sales have just kind of, you know, hence why she was like, do something with your fucking social to try to, but I also haven't really had time to write since doing the show. And there was a moment there for a few months where I finally got into a flow and could get the filming done in 1 week on, 1 week off, get the editing done, and still have like a week and a half to be in my office and fucking write. And then holidays came, and since then, it just hasn't happened. And like, my office being a liminal space as a fiction writer, for me, it's very much channeling. My characters exist in other dimensions. Yep. And so that's why, and I only work with liminal deities, which is why my temple is my office. It's the church, it's one and the same. But I'm going in there for connectivity with my deities, but my desk is just like stuff's piled on it, and I clean it off. But then it's like, the minute I'm like, okay, I can sit down, it's not happening. And then there's the sense of, well, AI is fucking taking over everything. The New York Times just came out with a quiz of comparing readers, like, which do you like best on these sentences? And everyone, including myself,
like a blind
picked every AI fucking option. Oh, no. And I was like, fuck, because everyone already thinks that, like, what you like using fucking M dashes and hyphens, they're like, oh, that's AI now. And it's like, no.
Love my M dash, thank you very much.
And it's like, and they're like, well, you can tell it's AI because when they use descriptive clauses, sometimes they'll use it in threes, sets of threes, like, he felt and then he went, and I'm like,
that's based on actual human language.
Yeah, that's how most authors, you read a novel, most of us, that is how we'll conclude a sentence to get a point across. We'll usually use a beat of three. And now they're saying, well, that's how you tell AI. So, because the AI was trained on us. So there's that feeling of why even bother? And is the show just, is this what I'm doing now? And goodbye to the thing that, like, still is everything of who I am. And like, my writing is part and parcel with my faith and my spirit, and it is all parts of me. And I have found myself crying so often. And I guess the question that I'm needing clarification on is what I'm doing for the show and all the things that I'm doing and putting out there. Is this the blood, sweat, tears, the no sleeping, the screaming at my computer, the fucking all the shit and the frustration? Is it not paying off? That's not the right word. But is it fruitful and not fruitless? Like,
yeah. All right. take some deep centering breaths. Ground a little bit. Invite your guides forward. Let them know that you are here to receive their guidance for your highest good. Let them know that it is okay to communicate that guidance through me for right now. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But if I touch on something that you are curious about or you want to hear more about, let me know so I can focus on that line of input. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So first, everybody is exhausted. Not everybody, but a lot of us, right?
Yes.
We are exhausted. We are stressed. We are scared. Artists, queer folks, pagans, witches, anyone who's not Indian crowd, right? We're all going through it. It is not just you, and it's low tide. It's just low tide across the board. So it's not that it's all for nothing, but like very few people are seeing the fruits of their labor right now because our fruits are being stolen, they're crushed or killed on the vine. And that's most of this and these communities. That's most of these. The question of what to do about it. This isn't permanent. Now, that isn't super helpful coming from gods because, yeah, no shit, nothing's permanent to you guys. But we have a very narrow time frame to be working with here and to get payoff from these things and be able to survive and, you know, spend the time that we have here doing something we actually care about and be able to live while we're doing it. So the actionable advice that I'm getting is, how to word this? You have to make the adjustments that you need to do to your routine to make it possible for you to be in a holding pattern for a little longer. Like, change some of the things around so that what you're doing is sustainable, but not necessarily your ultimate end goal. Does that make sense? Because we're all in a transitionary period, whatever, right? And so you shouldn't be making like long-term choices right now. You shouldn't be making permanent choices, and you can't even really be evaluating the long-term effects of your previous choices because everything is so up in the air right now. Like, about half the population is absolutely certain that AI is the future, and this is just how it's going to be, and another good chunk of people are absolutely certain the bubble's going to pop. And we are seeing very informed people on both sides making very informed arguments for both sides, and we're seeing evidence for both assertions. So we don't know. But the dust is definitely not settled, and it's going to be a little while before it is settled. I personally have felt very much on the precipice of something pretty big. I don't know if it's good, bad, or bad big, but it is big. Like, where we're at right now, we are absolutely at the edge of something. I'm hoping it's going to be
great
for the better. But even if it is, it's going to be messy to get there.
There's a lot of despair and suffering coming.
It's going to be messy getting there no matter what. I'm talking about like the greater scheme of things because that is all directly related to what you're doing in your choices, right? So the truly actionable advice that they're giving me, and it's HEKA-TEA and something like it's both of them, which is interesting because neither of them usually want to talk to me directly, but they're very
they're on
So
when you ask my spirit, I'm like, girl, those are my spirit guides. So if that's who you want to talk to, I'll ask them to come talk to you. So the actionable advice here is take a step back, take stock of your routines, take stock of the things like, are you writing just to keep yourself from like falling out of the habit, or are you trying to churn out a book right now? I mean, right at this point, I'm trying to write to, obviously I'm producing something because I can't write unless someone comes in and there you go. But I'm not, normally I am a researcher. So like some novels can take a decade to research, and I'll do others in between and this time I was like, I don't want to do that. I just want to get back to that feeling of complete writing, just channeling through, writing with in my pants and seeing what happens. And hopefully, obviously it becomes something, but I really just want to make sure that I don't lose my gift because I was signed to my first agent when I was 19. I have always been a child prodigy as a writer. It's always just been, that's who I've been. As Tori Amos plays pianos, I write or type to be real, but that's my instrument. But and I miss it. I miss my computer. Like, I miss connecting to my keyboard. And it's made me so sad because even though I started that and it was working out, Microsoft 365 took over everything,
Yep.
and now Microsoft Word belongs to the cloud.
Yep.
So their AI can go into everything.
And take.
So I haven't been writing since they did that, because I'm trying to learn Linux, because it's like Windows 95, the best version ever, and their word processor on Linux is like Windows 95 and will actually be on my computer. So I haven't been able to write anything because I don't want to give their AI access to my shit, which they do now.
Yep.
And so I haven't written anything new because I don't want to add to what they've already taken from me. And then my Clip Champ, which I use to edit the videos, literally without any notice or anything, and I've been paying for it, switched to Microsoft 365, got taken over, and I one day went to go, I was in the process of uploading the episode before this one that just dropped, and I go the next day and the computer completely restarted, Clip Champ was gone, and I go into it, and it's like now Clip Champ has now been absorbed into Microsoft 365 Premium, you have to pay for this, and now it belongs on the cloud, everything you're doing is on the cloud, and now Clip Champ has stopped working correctly, so I am not, the past 2 episodes, we're not dropping until literally the 11th hour. So I was staying up 32, 42 hours straight because I had to monitor and stay with it. So now I'm lost all time trying to do the show because my only other option is this thing called DaVinci, which is what Hollywood uses and a lot of like the real like other like YouTube like media people use. But I don't have the brain to learn the DaVinci stuff. So I'm kind of stuck with ClipChamp. So that writing for just to keep it up, that time's gone. Mm-hmm. Like literally all my time is either filming or sitting in front of the computer editing the episodes.
Yeah. So.
And I feel lost
yep.
and drained.
So it is time to. Yeah, they're coming. So look at your schedule. Look at your energy. Where you're at's not sustainable. So they're like start trimming some fat. Start sacrificing some things. Maybe you film less. Maybe you post less often, so that you can reclaim some of that time to do something that is more recharging.
Yeah.
Because, again, the advice stays the same. You can't make long-term decisions with the way things are right now, and everything is so tumultuous. Even the seers are like, man, it's all chaos.
Yeah.
And until a few larger things kind of settle down into a situation that can at least be vaguely predicted.
Yeah.
It's cut back, reclaim some of your time and your energy, even if it means you built these 2 projects when you had more time and you had more energy.
Yeah.
And you just don't have either. You don't have as much of either of those as you used to.
Yeah.
So you have to restructure.
Yeah.
The answer is restructuring. And it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be comfortable. But if you are brutally transparent and honest with yourself about how much time and energy you actually have and where you actually want it to go, you can make room for both. It's just going to be less of both.
Yeah.
Let me give you this.
So that was obviously really fucking cool.
Yeah. What an amazing talent that AJ has.
Or someone that they are just an amazing person, and you should fucking work with them. Like, if you are interested in this at all and learning more about what they do, reach out to AJ, and you will not be disappointed at all.
Yay, AJ.
Yes. And
without further ado,
we get to Witchy Media Review. And what do we have going on today?
Well, we watched the brand new 2026 film Forbidden Fruits.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. So this is a new comedy horror film. It's being touted as Mean Girls Meets The Craft, which
it's not.
It's not.
Before we get into this, I will preface that as a black comedy, as a dark comedy, I mean black comedy in the genre way of black comedy, dark comedy. That is historically called black comedy. But like Heathers, Mean Girls, The Craft, Scream, just any of these these dark comedies, these irreverent, iconic films that are going to be quoted till forever and always, that have iconic characters who all fit an archetype. See what I did there? I used archetype the correct way. Get out of here with ladies are just archetypes. Fuck you, no, they're not. It succeeds. So I'm going to preface that right away. Just as a dark comedy, in this Jennifer's Body way, in this fucking Heather's way, not the show, the actual OG with Christian Slater and Shannon Doherty, R.I.P. and another writer. Serial Moms, any of those type of fucking dark comedies. This is 100% iconic, perfect. Now knowing what kind of movie it is, knowing that's what it is, I will gleefully enjoy it in the future.
Oh yeah, I actually cannot wait to watch it on a hot summer day, just at home in my 80s, you know?
drinking
With
a
some
frozen
champagne.
drink, yes, and just fucking watching Forbidden Fruits and like
Heck
just like
yeah.
having a fucking day. Perfect. Now that you know what kind of movie
Exactly.
it is.
Exactly.
But that's not what we do here.
No.
This is Witchy Media Review.
Exactly.
So we have to come at everything, no matter how much we fucking love it for what it actually is. We have to come for it for what it presents, what it told us it was, and within the genre of witchcraft, pagan, folk horror films.
Yes.
Whether they're comedy, drama, horror, somewhere in between, they have a pagan, folk horror, witchcraft angle, then that's the lens we have to judge it by.
Yeah.
Just saying that moving forward. Please continue.
Yes. So this film stars Lily Reinhardt. I love her.
Mm-hmm.
Lola Tung, Victoria Pedretti. Don't come to me, but I don't love her so much.
Which one was she? Cherry?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cherry, my thing with Cherry was she was like Temu Karen from Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Like, you kept waiting for her to be like, there's a 98% chance that it's zany.
Yeah.
Like, it was very on the nose.
Very much. Also, Alexandra Shipp, Emma Chamberlain, and featuring a cameo by Gabrielle Union.
Which was a shame. She was underutilized.
No, she really was.
Underutilized.
Like she could have been a large, like such a larger part of the film.
Yes.
Well, I mean, she was there, but you only saw her legs for most of it. until the last scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so it's based on Lily Houghton's stage play titled "Of the Woman Came the Beginning of Sin, and Through Her We All Die," which is a very Dickensian title.
Yes.
if you ask me. Not just with the content, but the length.
Absolutely.
So the film had its world premiere at the 2026 South by Southwest Film and TV Festival on March 16th of this year, before being released by Independent Film Company and Shudder on March 27th. We went to see it on my birthday on April 18th.
Yes, we did.
We did. So basically, the plot is that there are a group of glamorous saleswomen,
Yes.
all of whom are named after fruit.
Yes.
So you have apple, fig, and cherry.
Yes.
At the clothing store Free Eden.
Which was basically free people.
Yeah.
Like just straight up free people.
Yeah, but with like a Adam and Eve, Eden,
With
kind of
vibe.
kind of spin. Located in Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
Where of course they flirt with customers into spending thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes.
They are approached by a new girl who works in the food court at a very obviously Auntie Anne's Pretzels situation, but it has a different name because they can't use the name in the movie.
Yes.
The new girl's name is Pumpkin.
Like slinging salts or salty slings or something like that.
It was a family name and
salt.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember what the name is, but it was a relative like auntie, and then it was salt, like you would salt.
Yeah.
Sister Salt.
Sister Salt.
That's what it was. Yes. And they're very like they don't like sister salts. It's like a whole thing.
Because the sister salts are like pious and pristine, like they're nuns at the mall. It's the whole thing.
Anyway, however, once they find out that her name is Pumpkin, they're like, oh, come join us.
And they have like they go up and they have like paradise.
Yeah.
And it's at the upstairs drawing room. And the dressing room and closet, where they perform witchcraft and like they invoke Spanx and hot pants and something, and then they like
and then their chalice is
like bejeweled cowboy boots. And they go into one of the dressing rooms where there is a picture of Marilyn Monroe, and like that is their patron who they confess to, and they go in the confessional and confess their sins to Marilyn. And like they do these like stupid the witchcraft is not taken seriously.
No.
So they just don't take the witchcraft seriously at all.
No, not at all.
And as a result, like it rings hollow. There's not really a lot of witchy shit that goes on that I would say it merits the craft comparison.
No, nor even really the Mean Girls.
No, the Mean Girls comparison works. I would say character-wise, Mean Girls, like in terms of portrayal, archetype, whatever. But I would say in terms of scripting and shit, it was more like Jawbreaker.
Yeah.
It was way more like Jawbreaker. It was much more adult, much more dark, much more bleak, much more. just things that I would say put more with Heather and Heather as a
I agree
Jawbreaker
with Heather's more so than Mean Girls.
Yeah. So, and definitely not the craft.
No.
Witchcraft is kind of an afterthought.
Yeah, exactly. I also feel like there could be like a little bit of Coyote Ugly in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was a lot happening.
Yeah. But
characters named Pickle.
Yes. And she was the former like fourth girl, and some drama happened, and she was cursed by the group. Well, her dude was, and then by proxy she was as well.
And the thing is, the curses just ended up being Apple poisoning people.
Right.
It wasn't even like she did the act of the curses, but then they just got poisoned.
And it was just such like a generic curse. It was like, I curse you.
Yeah.
You know.
Liar, I curse you. Defiler, I curse you.
Right.
It was just.
Yeah.
But again, as a regular fucking movie.
Oh yeah, as a regular movie.
Masterpiece.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Just as a witch movie, not great.
Not great at all.
No.
On the witchcraft level, as a witch movie, as a movie, now knowing what it is, and if it had been advertised correctly, it would be getting a full nip.
For sure.
But as advertised and what we weren't expecting and how it was, I just have to give it a waxing crescent.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm gonna have to give it a waning crescent because it completely missed the mark.
Right.
So on the witchcraft level, as a witchcraft movie, as a witch movie, if you're looking to watch a fun, irreverent witch movie, this is not it.
No. I mean, there were so few scenes featuring witchy acts of any kind.
Yeah.
You know.
Or any real spell work happening. Like
it felt like it was very aesthetic with the witchcraft.
Yes. It was very hollow and very aesthetic.
Yeah.
And
also
very biblical.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, is that like the depictions of the witchcraft felt very Abrahamic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
for that, I have to give it a waning crescent.
Yeah, same. But I also can't wait to watch it again.
Yes. And now that we have told you, please watch Forbidden Fruit.
Yes.
Going into it knowing that it's more poking fun at girls who get involved in the aesthetics of witchcraft. And there's not any real witchcraft going on. But if you want just a really good Heathers / Jawbreakers, Mean Girls, not craft, but S movie of those others, then this is definitely it.
Yeah. And also kind of at the same time poking fun at toxic female friendships.
Exactly. Oh, 1,000%. Definitely this. Dallas Mall Culture, definitely. Yes. But as a witchcraft movie, no. Not there. It tried and it missed the mark.
It did.
Great effort on that front, but waning crescent for it. That being said, now that you know what type of movie it actually is, fucking see Forbidden Fruit as soon as you're able to, because it's hilarious. You'll fucking love it and quote it like all the fucking time. All right, so that is it. We fucking thank you and appreciate you for joining us again. And yeah, if you like what you see, as always, you guys, and it really does mean so fucking much, please, 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 please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and spread us. We just had like 100+ views on our latest episode. We'd really love to keep that momentum going, and we can't do that without your guys' help. So yeah, please comment, please let us know what your thoughts are. Have you seen Forbidden Fruits yet? What did you think of it? What did you think of all the other shit? What are your issues with the witch wound? Do you have a witch wound? Do you think you do? Do you have an ointment for that? Do you have a real witch wound because you actually check the boxes we talked about that actually would be a valid witch wound? Let us know in the comments. Yeah. And as always, witches, please, please absolutely remember that broomsticks, not just for cleaning.